Yo, what's good with you? Back in black with another Enlisted video. If you guys are new to the channel and you love shooting games just like me, make sure you aim for that like button and shoot that subscribe button as well. It'll help you find better teammates and improve skill-based matchmaking. Today's video is going to be a review of the Tokyo Arsenal SMG, a brand new submachine gun that has been added to the Japanese faction. And let me tell you, the best nickname that I can think of for this gun is Japan's PPsH. You will see why that is very apparent if you have not already done so in this video. But yeah, giving you a quick little history lesson, this gun was already established, or developed I should say, in 1927. Unfortunately, it did not make it past its comparative trial test to other submachine guns of the era, and thus Japan did not adopt the gun. But on the bright side of that, Enlisted is a video game, so we actually do get access to that and get to add it to our weaponry arsenal to use against our enemies and foes. And I am happy they did do this, and they have that liberty to do so because this is a video game, because this gun is quite frankly amazing. Let me get into the stats. Alright, so getting into the numbers, the first thing that's going to stand out to you is obviously going to be that crazy fire rate coming in at a base of 1200 rounds per minute. All that means in the grand scheme of things is that you're going to be putting down your foes in a blink of an eye. This is going to feel like shooting a laser beam, or if anybody has played the Russian campaign and used the PPsH like I said earlier, this will be a very similar feeling experience. I also do want to note that the muzzle velocity coming in at 350 does leave a little bit to be desired. Anything outside of that 20-meter range, you're going to find yourself having to lead your target considerably to even get any bullets on target. The reload time is also kind of average, but it is a drum magazine at the end of the day, so I don't necessarily expect those things to be fast to reload. I will say that once fully upgraded, you do get a pretty considerable buff to the damage and the fire rate, going up to 1380 rounds per minute and 6.7 damage per shot. But also, in the grand scheme of things, what it does is that it really only gives you the ability to stretch the gun out a little bit further than you would otherwise. And I would say that the developers in the grand scheme of things did a pretty good job constraining this gun within the ranges that it was actually supposed to operate within, because if this gun had really good range too, then I don't see any reason that you would use any other submachine gun in Japan's arsenal, which brings me to my next point. To me, what is most notable about this gun is the stark contrast that it brings to Japan's arsenal when it comes to submachine guns, generally speaking. Whenever you use a submachine gun with Japan, mostly what it's going to be known for is having a slower rate of fire and being way more controllable as far as the recoil is concerned. The only exception that I can think of is the SIG 1920, which is also a pretty high or a late unlock, like a tier 4 kind of gun. But all that being said, even then, this gun is on the extreme if you're looking at it on the scale of being controllable to being uncontrollable. And all that being said, I would say this gun is a pretty much like, what I really like about it is that it diversifies their kit in a pretty intense way. Most of the time when you're playing against the Americans in the Pacific campaign, they feel very brazen and emboldened when it comes to rushing the trenches, because they know their Thompsons and their bars and whatnot are going to have a way higher fire rate and thus be superior when it comes to close range combat. But what this gun does is that it pretty much gives you the ability to flip the table on its head and take the fight to them, especially if you so happen to be in one of those rare games where you're playing Japan and you so happen to be on offense as well. I have literally no fear when it comes to running into trenches, and I know I have a squad full of these. I pretty much didn't even feel the need to even run the medic squad until this gun came out, because now that I know that I can give every medic one of these, essentially they go from kind of hanging back and trying to keep them alive to like, oh, this is essentially an assaulter with a med box. So that's another tip that I would also like to throw out there. I would definitely recommend throwing this gun onto the medic squad along with any other assaulter squad that you do have. In the grand scheme of things, I would recommend leaving the range combat to your machine gunner and your rifleman or engineer squads, because they will have the bolt action rifles and the semi-autos and the machine guns that will take care of that. Meanwhile, this Tokyo Arsenal SMG will pretty much eviscerate anything that was in a 20 to 10 to 5 meter range, or pretty much anything that you can see and get your sights on. It's going to have a hard time being able to beat your squad in combat. And I can guarantee that if you guys have the same number of people in a squad and you guys meet up head to head, more often than not, you're going to be the one that ends up coming out alive, especially if you have really good aim, which I guess would bring me to my final point that I really wanted to make about this gun. So far into the video, I have been saying pretty much only good things about this gun, but I'm not going to make it sound like it's all daisies and roses. This gun was somewhat of a challenge to get gameplay for, but there's only two particular reasons that come to mind, and you can probably already notice it in the gameplay. The first is going to be something that I mentioned a little bit earlier, and it's going to be that reload time. 3 seconds is not necessarily something to scoff at, especially in this game where when you kill one person, more often than not there's going to be 3 or 4 more others that you have to kill successively, as the other person who you just killed will switch to the AI that they are still controlling and come back to get their revenge kill. So that being said, if you so happen to run out of ammo, then you're going to have a hard time maintaining that status of being alive and not KIA, due to the simple fact that you're going to have to reload after you kill 1, 2, or maybe even 3 people if you are lucky. The recoil does not do you any favors in this department either. It may look like I'm doing a pretty good job keeping my sights on target, but a lot of that is because this gun is fully upgraded in some of the clips that you are watching, and of course I have perks that will mitigate some of the recoil that I am experiencing. I don't know if it would be a better idea to put a lot of that stock into vertical or horizontal if you can or afford it with the perks. But considering what most of this gun has is vertical recoil, I would recommend spending all your perk points on that. If you're not so much worried about managing the recoil, which again I am going to preface you guys, the recoil on this gun is insane. The video might not do it justice, but if you feel like that is something that you can handle, or maybe you're playing on PC and it doesn't bother you as much, you could also put a lot of that weapon handling perk training into the reload speed, which again is something that will get you killed more often than not when it comes to using this weapon. My last criticism that I even have of this gun that I could think of is that if I'm not running out of ammo in the clip more often than I would like to, I'm running out of ammo entirely speaking more often than I would like to. And this is a problem that can be mitigated easily by having a teammate that will build some ammo, or I guess an ammo box I should say. But something that I feel is a necessity when you're using this gun is that you have to have a large ammo pack, or at least a small one, because if you don't, essentially you're going to burn through your ammo in less than 30 seconds, especially if you're going against more than one squad. Even if you're going against one squad, I can guarantee if you don't have an entire squad full of medics, or if you're having a assaulter squad that you just started using that only has one assaulter in it, you're pretty much going to get about 30 seconds of playtime with that gun before you die. So again, for the time that you are actually alive, you want to make sure you have some bullets at your disposal. Make sure you get one of those large ammo packs. To encapsulate all my thoughts, I think the Tokyo Arsenal SMG is a great addition to Japan's arsenal and Enlisted generally speaking. What it does is that it brings Japan's close quarters capabilities much more in line with their US counterparts, and if they so happen to go against Russia on a map in the future, they will have something comparable to the PPsH. I do think the weapon is somewhat hard to use considering the recoil, but once you master it and get the hang of it, I guess you could say, for lack of better words, you will be glad that you gave it the time. Also, this is just more of me putting it on my wish list, but I do hope that they add a map in the future where Japan and Russia do go against each other. I do know it was something that was like super late in the war, but it's just something that I haven't seen any World War II game explore, so it would be really cool if Enlisted actually put that on their undertaking wish list. Aside from that tangent, overall, I'm going to give the Tokyo Arsenal SMG overall score of an 8 out of 10. Me personally, I do find it very enjoyable to use, but it was a bit of a learning curve, and I know everybody won't find that learning curve to be, something that they are willing to undertake. They may even find that the gun wasn't worth grinding for, generally speaking, but, that's just me trying to take my bias out of it. Everything else I said does, bring me to a logical conclusion of the score that I gave it, but I do want to know what you guys think down in the comment section below, especially if you have used this gun yourself. What do you think? What would you give it on a scale of 1 to 10 if you haven't used it yourself? Will you be adding it to your grind list in the future and making it one of those things that you want to go for? All that being said, I do appreciate you guys very much for watching. Don't forget to aim for that like button, shoot that subscribe button as well. Help you find better teammates, improve your skill-based match matchmaking. And yeah, black guy out. Oh, and Merry Christmas.